Here's a question for you. Does sneaking into Venezuela and surprising their dictator in his pajamas violate the principles of America First? No, it doesn't, and here's why. America First means prioritizing the interests of the American people. We don't take actions at the behest of another country, whether or not they're our ally or our friend. If it doesn't serve our people and their needs, we don't do it. But it was very much within our interests to oust Nicolas Maduro. For one, he was cozying up to our enemies in China, giving them an economic and political and perhaps even military foothold in our hemisphere, right on our doorstep. That's a very bad thing to have happen. Furthermore, his regime and his predecessor had absolutely destroyed the economy that we had built up around their oil. We sent our oil companies in to do what their own companies could not do, to leverage those resources, and it was very much an advantageous relationship to us. And yet, when his predecessors came in, Hugo Chavez, that was completely destroyed, and they took a lot of our resources and seized a lot of our assets. That's not in our interest. Therefore, it would be to our interest to restore those. Furthermore, the unrest in Venezuela caused millions of people to flee the brutal communist dictatorship. That pushed them towards our borders. And to this day, we were able to stop them. But why would we want that pressure on our border agents? If they would stop trying to come in, it would make our life so much easier. I would say as a final reason, Venezuela is a significant vector for drugs like cocaine and fentanyl that eventually finds its way into our borders and kills our people. If we can stop that, it's to our advantage greatly. So those are the reasons that it is very much an America First thing to try to oust Maduro. It's not as if we're doing this at the behest of another country who's better served by this than we are. The other line of complaint I hear about this is that Donald Trump is starting new wars. Except he hasn't started another war. This entire conflict started and ended before you woke up this morning. It's over and done. Donald Trump has shown us intervention being done the way it should be, with overwhelming force, clear objectives, a beginning, middle, and an end that happen as close together as practically possible, and that serve America's interests from beginning to end. That's been done. Nicolas Maduro will face justice in our own legal system. The people of Venezuela will be freed in the short term from his most brutal elements of dictatorship, and in the medium to long term, they're going to elect someone of their own choosing. And that person will almost certainly be more in line with our interests. How do we know this? Because if it's a fair election, the people of Venezuela generally think positively of the United States. The overwhelming reaction in videos I've seen on X and on Instagram and on Facebook from the ground in Caracas and the area around Venezuela are positive, thanking Donald Trump, thanking God that Nicolas Maduro's gone. So I don't imagine they would be electing a Trump-hating, America-hating cartel member anytime soon, as long as the elections are done fairly. So rather than being a betrayal of America First or a descent into yet another cycle of endless wars, this is actually a victory for America First conservatives. We're pursuing our own interests, getting in and coming out quickly, accomplishing everything we came to do and more, and leaving without a single American life lost. We are defending what Trump in his national security strategy calls the Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine, which is to say that we must pursue preeminence in our hemisphere, we must prevent our enemies from gaining a foothold, and must make sure that our interests are protected at all costs.